Hello everyone and welcome back to Oba's Trending Gist. So this week has been nothing short of a roller coaster, packed with explosive political drama, shocking public brawls and deeply concerning incident of alleged injustice. We are talking about high-profile figures clashing, public figures losing control on a plane, and even military personnel facing challenges. It's a snapshot of a nation grappling with issues of conduct, accountability, and the rule of law. And trust me, you don't want to miss our breakdown. All this news was brought to us by the meticulous reporting of Arise News. So sit back, let us take a look.
Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending, focusing on reactions to the fierce public exchange between former President Olusegun Obasanjo and former Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose that exposed the deep cracks in their once political father-son relationship. The drama began at Fayose's 65th birthday celebration, where Obasanjo publicly reflected on their long-running, turbulent relationship, describing Fayose as not the best of his political proteges, despite acknowledging his political accomplishments. Let's take a look.
Some people called me and said, "We hear you are going to your Fayose's birthday. Can't you remember he abused you?" I said, "Thank you for reminding me." In Yoruba land, we have a saying, "You are not the best of my political children. You are not. But you have made achievement that must not be ignored. If I ask for forgiveness, and as far as I'm concerned, you are forgiven. But the lesson, the right lessons from the life."
Well, Ayo Fayose has fired back at Obasanjo with a blistering message, accusing his SY political godfather of making irresponsible comments at his age and sinking so low, in the scathing response framed as a thank you note that was anything but grateful. Fayose went on to insult Obasanjo, suggesting that he belonged in a zoo and suffered from a heightened state of dementia. Fayose also demanded a refund of the money he paid Obasanjo to attend his party, which he claimed Obasanjo publicly acknowledged receiving. In a swift reply, Obasanjo thanked Fayose for the message, noting that it undisguisedly revealed who and what Fayose really is, unchanged and unchangeable. He also confirmed that the money had been returned unopened to the person who delivered it, stating he considered the matter closed. I'll take some reactions. This is from Olufemi, who wrote, "The latest outburst attributed to Mr. Ayo Fayose is so profoundly intemperate, vulgar, and unbecoming of any man who has ever occupied public office that it inevitably raises grave concerns about his mental equilibrium. Nigeria has its fair share of political theatrics, but this is of an entirely different category. It reflects a mind either overwhelmed by bitterness or impaired by an absence of reflection and discipline. If Mr. Fayose is indeed the author of this disgraceful communication, then he owes the nation an explanation, not merely for his manners, but for his state of mind. His behavior is not only shameful, it is suggestive of a deeper psychological dislocation that should alarm all reasonable observers." Another ex-user wrote, "There is no reason why Baba Obasanjo should have made those utterances at Fayose's party. After he told the audience that Fayose and his wife had already begged him, he should have let it go. Baba must learn how to let go at his age, and Fayose shouldn't have invited him at all." Finally, Taiwo wrote, "Two wrongs never make a right. Even if OBJ made a mistake by airing Fayose's dirty linen in public, it is utterly unbecoming and frankly disgraceful for Fayose to reply by attacking him publicly. What happened to respect for elders, that globally recognized and unmatched pillar of Yoruba culture? Has Fayose forgotten that some lines are simply not crossed, no matter the disagreement? In fact, his outburst only ends up proving OBJ's point about the kind of person he is. A wayward child cannot hide his true nature. This ex-user is calling ex-governor a wayward child. But I mean, that exchange was quite the exchange. When I read the statement attributed to the ex-Ekiti state governor, I was shocked. I thought it was fake news, but I don't know. Please, is it fake news, Dr. Amati?
Well, I mean, I'm shocked beyond belief because, you know, in Yoruba culture, respect is everything. They properly, you know, groomed Yoruba man, no matter the level of provocation from an elderly person. You know, seniority is very important. Even if the person is older than you by just 1 year. When we were in school, there were some people who were my seniors in secondary school. I don't even know how to call them by any other name other than senior this, senior that. And they take it in their stride because they know that, okay, because they were my senior for 1 or 2 years, he's senior for life. You know, Yorubas have a saying. They say, oh, people from certain parts of the country don't respect people who are older than them. They even say some of them in the morning, they just talk to their parents anyhow. That's how respect is so important to Yoruba people. So if you disrespect an older person in Yoruba land, it's like a taboo. It's part, you know, it's written into that concept of Omoluabi, which President Obasanjo was referring to. However, there will be some people who will look at the content of President Obasanjo's remarks and say, well, as an older person, whatever he said was not yet beyond the pale of, you know, commentary from a father figure to someone who is, you know, about the age of his sons and all of that. But for the former governor to now write back to the elder statesman to call him a mad person, to call him an animal, to call him an irresponsible person. If you look at it within the concept of Yoruba culture, that's really, really shocking. That's really shocking. And then to the extent of saying President Obasanjo should return the money that he gave him and all of that. That all of this even got into the media. It's so ugly. Is so untidy. So I can only say that as someone from the same background, I'm shocked beyond their belief.
All right, we'll follow up on the story as always. Well, let's now highlight the shocking footage showing activist Martins Osher, popularly known as Very Dark Man, and social media influencer Mr. Jollof engaged in a violent physical altercation aboard a United Nigeria Airlines flight from Asaba to Lagos at the Asaba International Airport. The altercation is believed to have been linked to an ongoing online disagreement between both influencers. Let's take a look at the video, which has since gone viral.
Give him wine. Give him wine. Give Please, I enter plane, I see, I'm not going to see today, he go slap me. I go near and I punch me, boom. When I follow him, he started biting me.
All right. United Nigeria Airlines handed over both influencers to airport security after the incident. And Nigeria's Civil Aviation Authority has said that both men will face sanctions. Michael Achimugu, the agency's Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, called the altercation unacceptable behavior while emphasizing how their personal fight also endangered others in the vicinity. And I'll take this reaction, Rufai, before I come to you. This person wrote on X, Mr. Jollof and VDM fighting inside a plane before takeoff. At this point, some people need to understand that public spaces are not their living rooms. This is totally unacceptable. Grown adults turning an aircraft into a wrestling ring. If you can't control emotions for a 45-minute flight, maybe you shouldn't be flying at all. Respect the crew, respect the passengers, and respect yourselves. This has to stop, and truly it has to stop. We are seeing these sort of, activities going on our aircraft. Can you imagine if you were on the plane? But, VDM has, always been, he's considered the activist of our time now. He's been doing so well with, exposing immorality and always speaking up for, the moral code. I don't know what he'll say when he comes out of, I believe that they're still held up at this point. I don't know what they've released them. I don't know what he would say after this incident for his followers at this point.
See, when you don't set targets and timelines or set rules, things will repeat themselves. You see, when we're saying that Wasiu's matter should be dealt with properly, and the other lady's matter, what's her name, Comfort now, should be dealt with properly, and we made them celebrities, this is the kind of society it calls. It will cause a society where people will have altercations and they think they can take it into the plane. VDM and Mr. Jolloff's matter spans a long time. They've both abused each other. They've both said things against each other. They've both threatened each other. But seeing each other in the plane and having that fisticuff in the plane, endangering the lives and the safety of other people is totally wrong. You can have your squabbles, but not in the plane. They have both taken them to the security forces. They were released yesterday. They said the NCA is looking at it. We must see actions to be meted out. We must see sanctions. The Minister of Aviation too must wade into this. This must never happen again. We must show very strong and stern measures because this will keep happening. I am happy that both of them were immediately deplaned, so they didn't go on that United Airlines flight. Immediately once the fighting happened, they brought them down from the plane. Most importantly, we are waiting to see what Mr. Keyamo and his team will do on this.
Right.
But this is a sore point, and this must never happen again. And it is only sanctions that will make it not happen again.
Yes, sure. We are waiting for the report, but you saw the video. I believe VDM said that Mr. Jollof was the one who threw the first punch and beat him as well.
Report.
And, what was your eyewitness report?
So they say that. So they are threatening themselves online, and Mr. Jollof had threatened him that the next time he sees him, he will give him a slap. So when VDM got on the plane, he was saying, you said you will slap me when you see me. Here I am, slap me. So
he slapped.
And then so he was the one, Mr. Jollof was telling him, so both of them, irrespective of, and this is what, when we talk about social media misbehavior, now translating to real life, and then endangering the lives of the people on the plane, it's a security risk. What happened? It's a show of shame, like you mentioned. These are people that are meant to be advocates, that people say, oh, they speak up for the common man, and just engage in this show of shame. I hope that they both come out to apologize, by the way, but we're not, don't let them not make them ambassadors.
I didn't get the apology.
Oh, that's the apology of Mr. Jollof. And both of them explaining.
So
that's
okay, good. That's what we need.
But we don't want only apology. There must be consequences for action. And they should not make them ambassadors.
All right. Okay, so it's good that they've apologized. I missed that actual video. I didn't get that. So that really was what we were expecting. Well, in another development, the FCT Police Command on Monday debunked reports circulating on social media alleging an attempted assassination on Naval Officer Lieutenant Ahmed Yarima in Abuja. The clarification follows another false publication on social media blogs claiming the officer was attacked during a stop-and-search operation at NNPC Junction in the Kabwa area of the Federal Capital Territory. Well, according to the police command on November 16th, a patrol team conducting a routine stop-and-search operation intercepted a Toyota Camry with a concealed number plate and fully tinted windows. The officers approached the vehicle and requested the occupant's identity, but the occupant refused to identify himself. made several calls and wound up his tinted windows, declining to engage with them. Minutes later, 3 naval personnel arrived at the location and cordially identified the occupant as their colleague. After this confirmation, the police team allowed the vehicle to proceed without incident. These reports are coming just a week after FCT Minister Nyesom Wike had a public altercation with the naval lieutenant over disputed land in Abuja. Well, in a related development, a retired general and Air Commodore, Abayomi Balogun, in a video that has now gone viral, expressed frustration over the destruction of his home in the Wuse 3 area of the Federal Capital Territory. The video showed the scale of destruction and rubble after the demolition. The retired general said that he was not informed about the demolition beforehand, but was told by the Development Control Agency that the exercise was carried out under instructions from the Minister of the FCT. Let's take a look.
Notice from the development. Good evening, sir. We have seen the way these people destroy your garden. We are not happy. But what happened, sir?
What will I do? I was here in the morning and I saw them coming. They say they are from development control. And they started marking the place. I said, what for? They say they are demolishing. I said, how can you demolish? Without notification, without anything. They say they must demolish today. And I begged them, I said, please. I met the director, on Mr. Galadima, who I used to know. And I said, please, give me 1 week. He said, no. I said, okay, just give me a day to move my properties out of there. He said, no, they will not allow me. They will just destroy everything. And before I know it, they brought the tractor
and they start leveling everywhere.
And as they were leveling, the area boys, the Babambola started stealing everything. So today, what was here yesterday is totally flattened by development control, who claimed that they were acting under authority of the minister.
Sorry, sir.
Oh, this is heartbreaking to see, Dr. Abati, as the retired general is someone who served Nigeria for 35 years. We're seeing this sort of demolition every time. It's constant in the FCT. We need more investigation on this particular story, but I'd like for you to tie in both stories. We're seeing that they're talking about Yerima all of a sudden after the altercation with the Minister of the FCT, and the Minister of the FCT is right now making the headlines over these demolition of this general.
Okay, very quick, it's straightforward. I mean, Officer A.M. Yerima became famous because of his altercation with the Minister of the Federal Republic. Earlier this week, we were told that there was an attempt on his life and that he managed to engage in what they call strategic maneuver and escape. The police have said that is not true. Now we're told that he was stopped by the police and he was driving a vehicle where the number plate was covered and he refused to cooperate. Naval officers came. We have also now been told that, you know, this is also fake news. It will appear that, because of that confrontation with the minister, he's become a subject of interest for certain persons, either persons who create fake news or persons who are just, interested in embarrassing him. And I think that, that should not be the case. He was on duty. People have been saying you shouldn't carry out illegal orders and all of that. Well, the owner of that property, the man in possession of that property, under the law of real property, has the right to protect his property as long as he has the relevant papers. And so, you cannot say Yerima was carrying out illegal orders. After all, we were told that the Chief of Defense Staff even called him on that particular occasion. But it's not a matter that should become unduly melodramatic or that should constitute a threat to his life. There may be some other people trying to even make the minister look bad, whereas in this particular case, the minister may be completely innocent. The altercation may have happened. Both parties involved may have moved on. So, but Nigerians, as President Trump pointed out, tries to create comedy out of every serious situation. He thinks that we're a country of skit makers. That's what Trump said the other day. However,
is he not a skit maker himself?
However,
a content creator.
He's not a content creator.
As for the retired Air Commodore, the minister of the FCT talked about the rule of law. Now, the rule of law means due process. It means fairness. It means justice. This Air Commodore is saying he didn't get any notice. Nobody, even told him what his offense was. It's a garden. Now, he said officials from development control just came there, and in a matter of hours, they have leveled the garden. Even if it was an illegal occupation of some space, due process should be followed. The report you mentioned that the directive was from the minister of the FCT. Again, in this particular case, the minister may be innocent.
Yes.
He may not have been the one that even gave the directive.
Yeah, the general said it himself.
Yeah, it's now convenient to just any little thing. They just say it's Wiki who is behind it. And it's because of the way he himself has been too histrionic in his approach that he will get blamed for even things that he knows nothing about. But due process, rule of law must be followed.
Yes, but we cannot have an officer who has served the country for 35 years in this sort of situation.
I understand.
This
as an officer's daughter,
yes,
you will insist on due process.
Especially, well, not only especially because of that. Yes, and it's unfair.
How can people's houses just be demolished?
Demolished, people's livelihoods.
There's a narrative that I'm seeing that is going around.
Yes.
And I saw it in my very dear sister's Onikpekwa Breakway article that they are all quoting the law that, the minister has a right to inspect property. In the case of that property that Officer Yerima was at, the minister was there, the minister was not going to inspect. The FCD authorities had come to harass the contractor. They were going to demolish. So please, let them correct that narrative.
Right.
They should stop quoting the law that he was going to inspect. We know, yes, he has right. He was going to demolish. Did you see bulldozer, but you don't see bulldozer?
So maybe he went to inspect with the aim to demolish.
Demolish.
So
No. He was going to demolish. He was not inspecting with the aim of demolition. Because the agitation there was stopping work so that they will be able to carry out a demolition.
Yes, you're right.
Let's get that right.
We saw
because
it.
people are changing the narrative. I don't like when people tell lies.
No, but even Wike himself said it.
So you say Onikepo?
No, hold on.
I'm not saying
Even Wike himself said it during the press conference that he heard that they were beating officials at the site. And
so
that's why he went.
Demolish.
That's the only reason he went to the site.
Narrative around.
Was because he heard that those people were beating government officials. So that he went to go and
demolish.
This is the question. So what did he go and do?
Is he now working for the Nigerian?
So what did Nigerian police? He went with his own personal security.
He went with his own personal security.
Nigerian police.
He's part of the level of lawlessness in the country. A minister going around with outriders.
He said it himself that he went to go and find out why they beat up government officials. Well, all right.
So it's the one that we call you from government official.
We'll take another story now. The controversy surrounding reports of a Christian genocide in Nigeria has taken a new dimension. Well, on Monday, the United States House of Representatives Subcommittee on Africa scheduled a hearing for November 20th to investigate the killing of Christians in Nigeria. The congressional hearing, chaired by Representative Chris Smith, is set to feature 2 panels of witnesses, including senior U.S. State Department officials and Nigerian religious leaders, to review the scope of the reports and weigh potential policy responses, such as targeted sanctions. Well, the U.S. congressional hearing is a significant diplomatic development that could have serious implications for Nigeria-U.S. relations and foreign aid. Meanwhile, superstar Nicki Minaj is set to speak on Tuesday at the United Nations on the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. The development also follows Pope Leo XIV voicing concerns over religious persecution targeting Christians. On Friday, Christian leaders rallied on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, thanking Trump for giving a voice to Christian persecution in Nigeria. Well, in the same vein, a new video trending on social media shows an excerpt from a sermon by the Catholic Bishop of Nsukka, Bishop Godfrey Ona, speaking about how the suffering of Christians in Nigeria is comparable to the crucifixion of Christ and how Christian schools in Nigeria have been sabotaged by the federal government. Let's take a look.
Since after the takeover of schools, Who has the correct statistics of the number of churches that have been burnt down in this country? Who knows how many Christians have been killed in this country because they are Christians? Some right inside the church. Some will tell you these are criminals. They are not just targeting Christians. Take it easy. How many of those who perpetrate these crimes have been arrested and prosecuted? How many of them are in jail? How many of them have faced the death penalty? The Catholic Church is against the death penalty. I'm talking about Nigerian law. And some Christians are being provoked legitimately to react. Anytime any of them reacts, they are said to be taking the laws into their hands. But all those who trample the law with their feet, trample upon the law. They kill, they rape, they maim, they sack farmers, they harvest crops of farmers and feed it to their cattle. And when you say no, why are you doing this? It is death. And when they do that, they record it and post it to government to see. If you ask them a question, you are killed. If you chase them away and while running away they die, you'll be condemned to death.
That was quite a compilation from Arise News. From the political theatrics to the shocking public display, Nigeria is certainly keeping us on our toes. Let us unpack some of these critical moments. First, the very exchange between former President Olusegun Obasanjo and former Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose. Obasanjo publicly declared Fayose not the best of his political protege despite acknowledging his political accomplishments. This ignited a blistering response from Fayose, who accused his former political godfather of making irresponsible comments. And suffering from a heightened state of dementia, Fayose even demanded a refund of the money he allegedly paid Obasanjo to attend his party. Obasanjo, in turn, described Fayose's reaction as undisguisedly revealing who and what Fayose really is, unchanged and unchangeable, confirming the return of the money unopened. Now, Dr. Abati and Olufemi, that's a Twitter user, highlighted a crucial cultural aspect here, the deep-seated Yoruba tradition of respect for elders. Aduwo described Fayose's outburst as profoundly intemperate, vulgar, and unbecoming, raising concerns about his mental equilibrium. While political mentorship can be complex, his political spat exposes a worrying trend in Nigerian politics, where personal attacks overshadow civil discourse. The breakdown of this father-son political relationship, as Ojiokwe puts it, reveals deep cracks and sets a dangerous precedent for how political disagreements are handled. It forces us to question whether perceived political missteps justify such open disrespect, especially when one party holds significant traditional relevance. Next, the shocking brawl between activist Very Darkman and Mr. Jollof aboard a United Nigerians airline flight. The video, which went viral, showed a violent physical altercation before takeoff. Stemming from an ongoing online disagreement, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has promised sanctions, calling it unacceptable behavior. This incident is deeply disturbing on multiple levels. It is not just a personal fight. It endangers the lives of other passengers and disrupts a public service. As commentator Taiwo Danjuma eloquently stated, two wrongs never makes a right. The argument that online beefs are now translated into physical altercation in public space highlights a growing problem of digital aggression spilling into reality. Public spaces, especially confined ones like an aircraft, demand a high level of decorum and respect. The authorities must impose stringent sanctions to send a clear message that such behavior is intolerable and will have serious consequences beyond an apology. It is a wake-up call for individuals to exercise emotional control and for regulators to ensure passengers' safety. Finally, we turn to the Federal Capital Territory, where we saw two significant incidents involving security personnel and issues of alleged injustice. First, the FCT Police Command debunked reports of an assassination attempt on naval officer Lieutenant A.M. Yerima. This clarification came after reports circulated claiming the officer was attacked during a stop-and-search operation. The police clarified that Yerima, driving a vehicle with a concealed number plate and tinted windows refused to identify himself until naval personnel arrived and confirmed his identity. In a related but distinct incident, we saw Air Commodore Abayomi Balogun, retired, expressing frustration over the destruction of his home in Abuja by the Development Control Agency, allegedly under the instructions of the FCT Minister Wike. He claimed he was not informed of the demolition beforehand. This FCT report paints a complex picture of governance and security. While the police clarified the Irima incident, the very act of an officer in a civilian vehicle refusing identification raises questions about transparency and adherence to rule by all citizens, regardless of uniform. The incident involving retired general's demolition home, however, is particularly concerning. The lack of prior notice for demolition, as alleged by Balogun, suggests a potential disregard for due process. Dr. Abati rightly stressed the importance of due process and fairness. People's livelihood and homes are at stake, and proper legal procedures should always be followed. The narrative that the FCT minister is behind these actions, whether true or not, creates a perception of impunity and a government operating outside established legal frameworks. It is crucial for FCT administration to ensure that all actions are transparent, legal, and respect citizens' right to avoid further erosion of public trust. So, the U.S. congressional hearing to investigate the killing of Christians in Nigeria and the Nicki Minaj's planned address to the UN on the persecution of Christians in Nigeria adds another layer to this. Bishop Godfrey Ona spoke passionately about suffering of Christians in Nigeria, comparing it to the crucifixion of Christ and highlighting how Christian schools have been sabotaged by the federal government, and he called out the lack of arrest and prosecution for perpetrators of violence. This international spotlight on Nigeria internal security and religious freedom issues a significant diplomatic development. While the complexities of insecurity in Nigeria are undeniable, involving various groups and factors, the narrative of targeted persecution, especially when amplified by international bodies and celebrities, can have serious implications for Nigeria's foreign relations and aid. The bishop's poignant call for accountability from Nigerian government is a stark reminder that citizens, irrespective of their faith, deserve protection and justice. The government must do more to address these issues holistically, prosecute criminals, and build trust among all communities. So, what are we saying in essence? This week's Transcending News serves as a powerful mirror reflecting the ongoing challenges in Nigeria's political, social, and security landscape. It underscores the urgent need for responsible leadership, civility in public discourse, and unwavering adherence to the rule of law. How Nigeria addresses these internal issues will not only shape its future, but also its standing on the global stage. So, what are your thoughts on these stories? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button for more trending gist. Until next time, stay safe and stay informed.